He's located at the bottom left corner. Color blue. Our Canadian Protoss player. From AX, he is TriGGeR.
And spawning in the top right hand corner of 2000 Atmospheres LE, we have the American Terran player representing himself as well as all the other ducks in the chat. It is Dolan.
Quack, quack.
Quack.
And oh yeah, baby, nothing interesting going on right now.
Standard
Say
game?
that,
Standard?
yeah,
What?
it's gonna be standard.
In
no
NA?
second gas. Oh wait, Dolan is going for the second gas. Okay, we are starting to see something different. We can see a strategy that's direct into Widow Mines with Armory. We could see a Thor drop. We could see perhaps this style with the Cyclones. I think it's Battle Mech, the name. Yes, we could see the Battle Mech. There's a lot of chances. We could also see a Hellion Rush. There's so many variations when Terrans go for double gas that as a Protoss player you get scared. You know, when you cannot look at the main of the Terran, there's so many chances, you know, of a proxy barracks, for example. So yeah, TriGGeR, he just goes for the expansion. He's got balls, mate. He's got balls.
No
if
fear,
I see a
mate.
Terran, if I see a Terran and he goes for double supply, so that I don't scout the main, I instantly go and I start to scout across the map. Like if there's any proxy, like you go very insane inside your mind. You're like, what's happening here? What is he doing? I cannot expand. I have to go for double gas. But no, TriGGeR is like, you know what? This is NA. I don't care. I'm the one who cheeses. He's not. So there you go.
Yeah. In a way, he's kind of calling his opponent's bluff. As you were saying, like when you have a wall off like that, it could be anything, or it could be nothing as well. So TriGGeR playing with fire a little bit. We'll see if it hurts him later on. You know, we'll see if he does get punished for this. With what Dolan has in store for us, as he is going for those Hellions. Ooh, interesting.
Oh yes.
Oh my.
Yes. Early Hellions are on the way. There's no proxy starport, so this is gonna be much more standard. This allows you to have your second command center fast, you know, much faster if you go for starport. But on the other hand, TriGGeR is gonna be able to scout this with the Adept, hopefully. Oh no, he's actually not gonna see this. But now Hellions are going to be rebuilt, and with that, TriGGeR already knows about what he's going to be playing against, and I'm glad, because now TriGGeR's got the tools. Dolan, it's gonna be very difficult to do any sort of damage because there's no starport. So TriGGeR's got the advantage, I would say.
Yeah, I'm glad that TriGGeR also got a sentry as well. Obviously, there's an opportunity here for Dolan to bust into the natural, throw down the mine, knock these units out of position, and just dive in. But TriGGeR, with those force fields, could try and deny that here, as Dolan is going to try and push in.
Oh my god, and the first force field is gonna be used. I think Hellions are going to actually get in, and TriGGeR, oh my god, I thought he was gonna be able to wall in.
Yeah.
But, you know, he was like, it's impossible that he goes for the aggression that early. But no, Dolan doesn't care, he just goes for it. 5 probes are going to go down, 6 actually, 7 already have been killed. And this is nice damage. I really thought TriGGeR had the tools in order to defend this, but unfortunately for TriGGeR, that's not gonna be the case.
Yeah, I'm honestly shocked as well, because TriGGeR, he saw what was coming his way. He should have been able to deduce what Dolan was going for, and it feels like he underprepared. Sure, he had some units, and sure, he had a sentry, but we were looking for that wall, as you were saying, to deny those Hellions. So Dolan, his opener, paying off.
Yeah, and the most unfortunate thing is that Dolan was able to get the full scout of what's going on TriGGeR's mind. He was also able to see the tech, and he was able to kill a lot of probes. But the most important thing was the sentry. When you go for a sentry as a Protoss player, you're sacrificing timings on tech. But on return, you get the sentry to get the hallucinations, the Phoenix hallucination, in order to scout what the Terran is doing. and with that you're going to be much more safe. You're going to see what will be the possible counter of the Terran strategy, but that's not going to be the case because the sentry got killed. So now TriGGeR doesn't have any possible way of scouting, and it's kind of, he's playing blind right now. That's very
Exactly.
bad.
Yeah. He again, so much happened there with that opener. Now he has to rely on these observers to slowly move out across the map. He kind of blindly went for this third base, isn't really aware of what the follow-up is going to be. Soon he will get a glimpse of it, but we'll see if it is going to be fast enough here. He also has to be careful because, again, Dolan, he's looking, waiting for that observer with that Raven.
Yeah, he's very prepared for any sort of aggression from TriGGeR. Usually when you lose a lot of probes, Protoss tend to do two actions. Either they go for a very macro style and they sacrifice a lot of army supply of that in order to get back into the game with an economical approach, or the other way around would be to be more aggressive, to go for that 5 or 4 gate Blink Stalker pressure that would be Parting's build. And Dolan is prepared for both cases. If TriGGeR goes for the expansion, he's gonna have a timing push that's gonna be very solid. If TriGGeR goes for the aggression, he's gonna have the best defense. So Dolan is in a very privileged spot. He's gonna now go for the third base, and once he starts pushing, I'm gonna be very afraid for TriGGeR's third Nexus, because damn, those tanks are, something to be feared of.
Yeah, definitely. Like, this push is going to hurt. The upgrades are lining up here as well. Combat shields and stim finishing up. +1 will finish by the time the army gets across the map. Thankfully, TriGGeR does scout this moving out, so he can prepare at home. But can he really? I love this as well. I don't know if I love this. But Dolan, he is going across the map with a Raven as well to harass. Hopefully, he has enough energy to disable the Colossus when the time comes. As instead, he's going to prioritize those auto turrets.
Yeah, I think it's a very nice choice because you don't actually need to undisable that Colossus. You have so much army supply that all you need to do is to go to do economical damage, And this Raven is gonna be able to do this. Look, now TriGGeR is gonna start to be more desperate. He's gonna start to lose probes, and the tanks are gonna do such a nice job. But look at the force fields! Oh my god! Oh my god, the battery overcharge is just too OP. Look at the Colossus is still alive, and the Immortal is still alive as well. And the Zealots start to go in, and TriGGeR is gonna be able to defend this. I think Dolan had so many chances of winning that engagement, but the Miss Micro, oh my god.
Mates, you were like, yo, you don't need to disable Colossus. I don't know, man. Overcharge is pretty good. But as you said, Dolan, there was an opportunity there, and unfortunately, he didn't take it. He wasn't able to focus down that Colossus, and somehow, some way, the Colossus had just never died, but at least he did deal some economic damage.
Yeah, he was able to do economical damage, but I think Dolan had a much better opportunity. His tanks were just too much on the front, they were too exposed. Yeah. And at the same time, the force fields from TriGGeR were almost perfect. He had the opportunity to disable the entire army with one single force. Unluckily, Dolan was able to still be aggressive. But those force fields were able to buy himself time, and the battery overcharge was the real MVP of that as well. Oh my god,
100%. It's always the MVP. What are you talking about? But we'll see. As unfortunately,
Blizzard.
Dolan, his tank count was reset. He's trying to push forward, but immediately both of those Widowmines get targeted down before a single shot goes off.
Yeah, and the Widowmines are still not being used, but they already borrowed. And look at the first shots, they are going to be real good shots. And Dolan is trying to trade as many of Zealots as possible without losing the army. And that's a very good move, but he needs to make more Vikings. 3 Colossus are just too strong against the bio of Dolan.
Exactly, and we do have a 4 Vikings now. Is that going to be enough, though? We'll see. We'll see if they're even going to be in position here. As TriGGeR, he takes down the rocks. He's going for that third base, and Dolan's army is split up.
Oh no, he's just going for the kill. No fourth Nexus for TriGGeR. This is an all-in. This is a timing push. TriGGeR wants to kill him once and for all. And look at the 8-click from TriGGeR right now. It's just beautiful. The Stalkers are just melting down with the Colossus, the Bioforce of Dolan. and now he's gonna be forced to play only on 2 bases.
Yeah, is it beautiful? Depending on your perspective. As the Colossus push on forward, almost every single Viking was focused down. We were talking about it earlier. Dolan, his army was completely split up. He was not prepared. We do have some nice shots going off. The Colossus are finally going down. Dolan may hold on, but look at how much he has lost.
Yeah, but he does have a lot of army. He can perhaps go for a counterattack, and the mules are gonna try to get the better economy. You know, I think Dolan still has a shot, but he needs to be a little bit more aggressive. But I don't blame him for not being so, because Protoss with 3 bases can go for 14 Zealots in just 1 minute. So yeah, I don't blame him for not moving across the map. But if you lose 26 SCVs, you have to do something. You know,
Yeah.
you cannot be just standing there.
Yeah, it's one of those things where Dolan, he just like saw his life flash before his eyes. Like he almost died right then and there. That was so close. And I do love this. He is now moving out, but TriGGeR spots this with the Zealot, with the Zonaga. He remakes a Colossus. He even has a Disruptor. To be fair, Disruptors aren't necessarily the most reliable unit, but we'll see how good that Nova is going to be.
Oh yeah, they cannot. I mean, they are not very reliable. But what happens if you get only one shot of a good shot of Disruptor? You win the game. so, so you can always have at least one. You know, they can really save the day. And I love how Dolan is denying the attempt of a 4th base from TriGGeR. And look at the Zealots. The counterattack is so deadly.
Exactly, like sure, Dolan denies the 4th, but the economy of Dolan is so much more fragile. Like he cannot afford to lose another 25 SCVs.
Oh no, not again. This is kind of like a this is kind of like a flashback of all the SCVs dying, and now it's almost like a raconte. Look, oh my god, the Disruptor did a very decent shot, and I think Dolan, it's gonna be very rough if he wants to win this game, because look, the Zealots are still ravaging all across the natural and the 3rd base of Dolan, and I think this is just game, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
like,
God.
unfortunately, there's still no answer to the Zealots. Dolan, he's forced to come all the way back home with his entire army to, what, save a base, I guess? And even then, like, TriGGeR, he's now free to retake his 4th base. He kept his Colossus and Disruptors alive. Now he has 3, man. 4!
Yeah, I think TriGGeR is not using a lot of his gas because he's afraid of going into Archons because of the presence of the Ghost. So I don't actually blame him for doing that decision. But as you guys can see, that's kind of like a macro mistake that perhaps Dolan can utilize in his favor. But look at the amount of army supply from Protoss play. Just too many Zealots.
Yeah, TriGGeR doesn't even need the Disruptors, let's be honest. Like, he could just come in with nothing but gateway units, and I don't know if Dolan would be able to really contend against that. He does dodge 2 of the Purification Overs at least, but we still got 2 more where that came from. The Micro as well, oh my god.
No, the War Prison was almost sniped with the 2 Archons inside, and I thought the first win of possible comeback, but no, TriGGeR with the support of battery shields, that's not gonna happen.
I mean, it's the MVP, man. Of course. It's oh god, meanwhile Dolan is trying to find a way up this ramp. Oh, Ghost gets picked off.
And second Disruptor. Oof. Every time I see Disruptors on the map, you know nothing is secured, you know? Those can be the worst Disruptors or the best in your life. That's it, and TriGGeR just secures the victory. He just had too much army supply, 4 bases running, and on the other hand, Dolan had no. So it was a good try, but TriGGeR was able to outplay him.
Yeah, it does feel like, honestly, a lot of it did come down to that first push when we saw Dolan kind of lose all of his tanks, not for free, but almost for free there. Like, he traded against gateway units of all things. And, like, you lose a lot of momentum when that happens.
Yeah, Dolan was doing so well, you know, he was able to do a lot of damage, he was able to scout everything, he had the right army composition in order to delay that 3rd base and perhaps kill it. All he lacked of was the positioning of the tanks and the micromanagement. That was his take, and TriGGeR was able to abuse this. Because of that, his experience and his way of approaching the game taught him how to play from behind.
Mm.
Sometimes Protoss, when they are playing from behind, they are too scared to go for the offensive because you don't have many units. But in this case, TriGGeR was able to identify that although he had less units, he had a much better positioning. So he just went for it. Congratulations to TriGGeR for identifying that. And now let's go for the second game.
Exactly. We are diving into game number 2 here. Is this going to be the final game? Possibly, or maybe Dolan can bring this back and take it to the ace match. And I do think it's totally possible. We saw how well he did in the early game of the previous game. Just a couple of things he has to tighten up, when it comes to his engagements. But that is totally solvable here in game 2.
Oh, okay, all right. Representing at the top right corner, he is the Terran player. I think he's from NA. Please tell me.
America,
yes,
yeah,
he's
America,
from NA.
America.
Yes, he's an Americanitsky, an Americano. He is the Terran player, Dolan.
And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Oxide ALE, we have the Canadian Protoss player, the up-and-comer himself. This is his first year really competing at the highest level of play, and boy has he made a name for himself. It is TriGGeR.
It really seems he's got the finger on the trigger because he's killing that Terran right now. He's he's playing very solid, I would say. He's not making a lot of fancy moves. Instead, he's going for the solid ones. He's very standard in that sense. And this is not the TriGGeR I always see. I mean, of course, TriGGeR goes for standard builds, but he always tends to go for timing pushes. Last game was a 3-base timing push, and this time, hopefully, we can see another timing push strategy. TriGGeR usually never goes for late game, unless he's forced to go into that. But Dolan, on the other hand, he's the type of player that wants to go for the early aggression. He wants to dictate the pace of the game. And I love it. I mean, that should be the mentality of a Terran aggressive player.
Yeah, like I just want to say that I don't think that Dolan looked bad, honestly. Like in the previous game, like there were very many moments there. Yeah, where
winning. Actually.
Yeah. Like the way that he was controlling his army, his timings, like his opener, his build, it was all working out quite well there. So yeah, I do hope to see more from Dolan here. Definitely.
He did all the right choices, except the micromanagement. That was the only failure that he had, and TriGGeR was able to abuse it. And that's how sad things are when you play on the highest level. Any little mistake counts, and unfortunately, Dolan learned that from TriGGeR. Hopefully, he can position himself in a better spot if he attempts to go for the same build once again. And the Reaper is gonna be completely murdered by that adept, and that's gonna be unfortunate. No scout for the Terran player.
Yeah, that's a rough start there. TriGGeR, he was ready, he was waiting for that Reaper, and unfortunately Dolan did lose it for nothing. He wasn't able to get into the main base. He isn't able to keep it alive later on if he wanted to go for something else. Meanwhile, 2 factory! Wait.
Ooh, no, that's a start
wait, the
point.
start point. Never mind, I'm blind.
Yeah.
Oh god.
I think it's gonna be a 2 cyclone drop.
Yeah.
I've seen this before. It's a very interesting choice, but it's not the best if the Protoss players has micro or the ability of the body of the battery, But look at this. I think it's gonna be benches.
Yeah, going for the switch. I love it. Very quirky. Not going for the drop, but instead going for, I guess, Cyclone for safety. Oh, but again, it all gets scouted.
Yeah, everything's gonna be scouted. TriGGeR with the sentry, he's gonna be able to see everything he needs to see. And although TriGGeR already knows that the Terran is not going for an all-in, he's surely going to be doing at least some pressure. So he's preparing himself. He already has the robotics bay almost finished. I mean the robotics facility, sorry.
Totally.
and yeah, I believe TriGGeR has got the tools to defend this, but it was just like last game. He had the tools, but he didn't respond very well. Hopefully Dolan can abuse once again the mistake from TriGGeR if he dares to make that same mistake again.
Yeah, it's one of those things where like you can have full information, but you still have to have the execution, right? And that's something that, yeah, we saw TriGGeR falter a little bit with that in game number 1, so we'll see if he's able to respond in time. He is cranking out observers for detection, and it should be done in time as the first Banshee does reveal itself.
Yeah, first Banshee already has been revealed, so TriGGeR is already prepared for this. He's got the Stalkers in position with the Observer, and Dolan, he needs to find a better spot, you know. He's gonna lack of economical damage, so he's gonna be playing from behind, and that's not something you really wish.
Mate.
But look, the boys are gonna be pulled.
Oh my god, I think this was kind of seen by the observer of TriGGeR, as we do see Dolan is just sending it across the map. Who is this, Skylar? I love it. He's just going for the 2-base all in.
Skylar, oh, I played against him so many times. He always goes for the same timing push, and Dolan is he's not gonna be the exception of this. He's clearly going to do the same thing. And look, the observer got sniped. There's no detection.
True.
I think Dolan doesn't realize.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't know yet. He doesn't know it yet. Oh my god, second observer is gonna come into the game. Hopefully Dolan can scout it. Please go for the scan, mate.
We'll see. Meanwhile, overcharge is being used. We have a couple of bunkers trying to be thrown down, but again, the keyword is try, as they will not finish up. The tank is being focused down as well.
Yeah, the battery overcharge is just too OP. Look how much damage was able to heal. And TriGGeR with the Immortal, with the Micro, with the Stalkers, and the battery shields, he's gonna be able to defend this very committed push from Dolan.
Oh yeah, incredibly. I mean, it was all in. He lost so many workers. Trying to transition from that is gonna be so difficult. Oh my god, he's being chased down.
Oh no, the counter attack is coming. 3 Banshees are in this game, but I think one of them is not going to survive. Yes, that's gonna be it. I think Dolan is just in a very awkward spot. He doesn't have army, he doesn't have economy. TriGGeR is just outplaying him in every aspect of the game, and I think it's just gonna be a matter of minutes.
Yeah, exactly. There's detection here, so the Cloak Banshees aren't going to do too much. He's trying to focus down the Immortals as best he can, but even if he does kill these Immortals, so much damage has been sustained. More probes are falling. Oh, Dolan, he holds on, but what is he really holding on to?
At what cost? Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. He lost so many things. Dolan has no supply. He just has... I mean, he just finished the 3rd command center. He's going for mech. Oh my god.
I mean, if you're behind and if you need to slow things down, why not just throw down more factories, mate? He was shooting into the stream. He's like, yo, Light said 2 factories, let's go.
Yeah, I think he's listening to the stream. He's like, you know what? If I'm going to die with style. You know, I want to make people happy, and I want to be as annoying as possible to TriGGeR for killing me with an 8-click. Nah, I'm just kidding. But look at these Stalkers. They're going to start to harass, to kill more SCVs, to be more annoying. And Dolan, oh my god, he's just, you know, he's in agony right now.
He is. He's just barely trying to hold on as best he can. So far, the Micro, though, is just too good. TriGGeR still does not lose a single Stalker. Again, this isn't going to kill Dolan, but it's just stopping Dolan from recovering.
Yeah, and I mean, the Observer is able to see everything. The Warp Prism was able to scout what he needed to scout. He knows that there's a lot of factories, therefore here comes the mech play from Dolan against the Protoss player. As you guys, the Terran players know that when you play against Protoss and you go for mech, it's so extremely difficult to win because Protoss units are just too good. They are so efficient, you know. The Immortal is so good against mechanical units that it's just almost impossible to kill them. You need Ghosts, you need Liberators, you need so many units, and in order to get them in time, you need to survive. So yeah, it's gonna be difficult, but you know, Dolan, he is able to stabilize on 2 base economy. He's going for the 3rd base, and let's see what happens.
Yeah. Let's see if he can, again, as you were saying, survive and get up to 3 base economy. It's not going to be easy, but again, with all this double tank production, like pushing into this can be difficult. Can be difficult depending on what you have. Again, a great way to break this is with Immortals, as you were saying, but TriGGeR isn't necessarily going for that army composition.
Indeed, I think TriGGeR is going to go for that mass army supply and try to just go for the kill. He's the type of player that doesn't like to go for Stargate and transition into carriers and Tempest, go for the late game. No, he's the type of player that if he identifies that he can kill the other guy, he's just gonna do that. You know, he doesn't think much else. He goes for the first 8 click of this game. And the stalkers are just too good. They are killing absolutely everything. This is what I was telling you. Tanks are so bad against Protoss units, and that's it. TriGGeR just wins the game.